scheduled to live because we are now live. Welcome to the Fantasy Focus live stream here on a Sunday morning. Again, it's been a long time. If you're familiar with us, though, you know that I'm Derek Tate. You know that's Ryan Levy, and you know that's Matt Bucks. And look, guys, we're going through a transitional period when it comes to the graphics. You'll probably notice that Matt Bucks is where Ryan M. Levy is, and where
I just gained weight, Derek. This is Ryan Levy.
That's another way to look at this. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to take your live start sit questions, guys. The Fantasy Focus crew is back. This is the second time this week. Sorry, I probably screamed you out there a little bit, Buck and Levy, but I'm just all juiced up this morning. I've already had a couple energy drinks. It's about time to have a cocktail with you guys and talk a little bit of football. Let's go. So let's kind of touch on some of the inactives, though, real quick, while we have people pouring in. Go us hit us with your questions. Hit the like button, subscribe, do the deal, click the bell so you get notified every single time we drop a new bit of video content. But Joe Mixon, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Jalen Warren, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, Tank Dell, and the likes of Jalen McMillan, Michael Mayer, and Damian Pierce are all inactive for week number 4. We're going to have some other game time decisions. We'll probably get a little bit more clarification here within the next hour or so for that 1 p.m. slate. But we also do have some clarification and some expectation for guys like Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Sam Laporta, Deebo Samuel, Nico Collins, Keenan Allen, looking like he's going to be back in the lineup for the first time since week 1. So we're getting some guys getting a little healthier, some other crazy injury issues across the NFL. It's been a weird NFL season when it comes to injuries. Last year, it felt like we had some. Christian McCaffrey, guys, hasn't played one game. Do you guys have any share? Levy, I'll start with you. Do you have any shares of Christian McCaffrey where you just basically got screwed out of the 101?
Yeah, I think I got lucky this year. I didn't have a top 3 pick in any fantasy league, so I'm grateful to have 0 shares of CMC. But I'm off to a good fantasy football start, I'll tell you. In every league, I have a winning record. And I've taken a different approach this year, boys. I look at more like player prop data to set my lineups, and it seems to be working out. And I have some good player props cooked up for today as well. Ooh. If you're looking for a little spicy parlay, Bucky, I got you covered.
I am. I am, buddy. Yeah. The biggest standout for me, well, record-wise, 0-3, 2-1, 3-0. So I'm all over the spectrum. I trimmed it down to 3 leagues this year, so a lot more focus. The one league isn't making any sense. I didn't even realize we were drafting.
Yeah.
And I really, really shit the bed on that one. So
can I just tell Tate about that real quick? Because that was interesting. We had this league's been around for about 14 years, Tate. It's the United Scum League that I am commissioner of. And Bucky has been in it since its inception. We had a draft, I don't know, the week before the season, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After work, no problem. I sent text reminders, email reminders, all that good stuff. I get a call from Bucks at 7:01, like, whoa, we're drafting right now. And I think there might have been several Miller Lights involved in this, because to say Bucky drafted interesting would be an understatement. I think he took Josh Allen in the first round, maybe the second, took Kincaid, took Shakir, took all the Bills. So, I mean, I think it could work out for you, Buck. But
it worked out all right through the first couple of weeks. But...
Yeah.
So well, my second round pick was what's his face up there in Chicago?
Caleb Williams?
You took Keenan Allen in the second round. That's
second rounder.
Listen, holy shit.
I can say there were no Miller Lights involved prior to. It was simply... it was a scramble drill, and I had no brains. I was operating purely on gut, and you know where my gut lies. It lies with these bad boys right here. So it was a rough day, but I've got some good teams out there. The one thing with the injuries that you listed, Tate, that really stands out is Houston. They are decimated, my man. Like, yikes. And, I think they're well coached enough to get through it. And I think they have the quarterback play to get through it. We've seen the Bills on the defensive side kind of rally back with, next man up. But I'm a little bit concerned and curious to know from you two what kind of options reside out there for the Houston replacements of Tank Dell, Pierce, Joe Mixon, who we looking at there, boys?
Well, I mean, if you're looking for like a waiver wire ad on Sunday morning, certainly someone like Jahan Dotson kind of jumps out to me because A.J. Brown is out. Devontae Smith has already been ruled out. So there's going to be a receiver role completely up for grabs in week number 4 against the Buccaneers secondary. And, say what you will about the Buccaneers secondary. They've had some nice moments, even while they've been banged up without the services of Antoine Winfield. Still got to think, right, that some of these targets are not going to go to Dallas Goedert, and they're not going to go to Saquon Barkley all the time. So Jahan Dotson is probably a name that I'm willing to throw out there. When it comes to, if you're just looking for another flex play this week, Roschon Johnson is a guy who I expect to see an expanded role. Like he's the only running back that has even looked remotely competent out of that Bears backfield through the first 3 weeks. DeAndre Swift's averaging 1.84 yards per carry through the first 3 weeks. It's been rough. It's been putrid. It's been bad. He looks like the 2024 version of Miles Sanders so far. So I expect an expanded role from Roschon Johnson in week number 4.
Hey, to that point, this is a great segue into our first question from Fredley here. Steele or Swift for RB2 in a full PPR?
It's Carson Steele without a doubt for me. I love DeAndre Swift. I do have some concerns about his vision, and with an offensive line that isn't generating a ton of push right now, Levy, I want to get a guy that is north and south, because there's just, while he was playing behind a talented Philadelphia Eagles offensive line last season, and then prior to that, he was with the Detroit Lions. Last year, DeAndre Swift actually led all running backs that, saw north of 150 carries with average yards before contact per attempt. And that speaks to the offensive line dominance. They just don't have that in Chicago. And, you get this east and west running style that DeAndre Swift has, and he can make defenders look stupid, but he's just not getting north and south enough right now. So he's on my bench. He's even droppable, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay. Buck, who are you going with, Steele or Swift?
I'm going with Steele. And the big reason for me is Caleb Williams doesn't look comfortable yet. And when you're a rookie, the hope is that they find those escape routes with their outlets. And so far, he's really tried to force things a little bit. I think he's a little heavy-handed right now. He'll settle in, but that's where Swift's money is made, is being the escape hatch, getting out in the flats and making things work on the outside, Derek. So I'm with you on that. I think Steele is just the more appropriate start here that will get the requisite volume and have some level of production there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Steele as well, just a better offense, so I'm more confident with that. But I'm not dropping Swift yet. I'm not giving up. I'm not cutting bait yet.
I'm close. If I can make a move, I'm trying to make a move. I'm being honest.
All right, fine. Fredley says if we create a fantasy focus league for 2025, he is in. There is a fantasy focus league that is still active and very competitive, but no one has quit. So you can be first on the list for that league.
We can do a little weekly DFS contest if somebody wants to create it. Like I would be down with that.
Yeah, I like that. We used to do that back in the day. Mike McGuire, morning fellas. I'm dumpster diving for my RB2 this week. Start P. Ryan, Chandler, or Justice Hill in a PPR league. Tate, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go P. Ryan of this bunch. The Green Bay Packers defense has actually been far better than I expected over the last 2 weeks without the services of Jordan Love. So, a complimentary option. Ty Chandler's a nice player. Some things can be said about Justice Hill against. I will say, if there's a week to start Justice Hill, it probably is this week. Bucky, you could probably speak to how well the Buffalo Bills offense is playing, and then combine that with the Baltimore Ravens defense just not being as formidable as a unit across the board as they were last season. I could see a game script, Levy, where Justice Hill is on the football field and kind of similar to how they played against the Chiefs in week 1, kind of acting as that check down option that we know that Derrick Henry simply isn't at this point in his career and really has never been in the passing game. So I'm stuck between Hill and P. Ryan. In a game script that I think can favor that type of flow, if the Bills offense continues to roll, I'm going to go with Justice Hill.
Bucky?
I'm actually leaning P Ryan here. I
It's
think there's
close.
opportunity there. And I think that in terms of overall touches, you're going to have a higher touch count with P Ryan. P Ryan's a grinder near the goal line. We know that. Yeah, I'm gonna favor P Ryan here just because I honestly don't have a feel for how this Bills Ravens game is going to shake out. And in my opinion, the Ravens are going to scheme up something a bit different than what they've put on tape so far because they're going to need to if they're to beat the Bills. So that could favor Hill, like Tate said. So I'm right there with you on a 50-50. My gut says P Ryan, that's just a Florida Gator bias. And I don't like the Ravens today. So
yeah, Bucks. I think the Bills are going to smoke the Ravens. I hope they do.
Ooh.
I'm going to go P Ryan. I'm with you guys. So let's go, Mike. Go P Ryan. All right, Joseph Tater need to start 2.5 point. Shakir, McLaurin, and Ford. Who you got?
My man, Joseph Navarro. By the way, you talk about me making trades. This guy is all over the trade game. I love it. Keep hitting me with those questions, Navarro. We're gonna get you a ship this year. So 2.5 point PPR. I'm gonna go Shakir. I can't sit him right now. Just gives you too high of a floor, and I feel like he's the wide receiver to start out of the Bills collection of pass catchers there. Ford is tricky. Ford is always freaking tricky. I'm gonna go with I'll go Ford and Shakir. I'm encouraged by what I've seen with McLaurin going up against Arizona today, but I just feel like he's really feast or famine. I'll preface it with this. If you're ahead in the projections and you just need a baseline floor, go Ford over McLaurin. If you need to hit a home run, then I would go ahead and put McLaurin in hopes that he catches a bomb or two from Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, if we're going baseline here, Shakir's a no-brainer for me. I think Shakir right now is holding like an 8-9 point floor every single week. You didn't say, it's a half point. I didn't say half point. I didn't see it. So knowing it's a half point, I feel good about double digits for Khalil Shakir. McLaurin in this matchup actually concerns me because of the safety play of the Cardinals. It's actually a strength, right? And as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to mess with that. I saw what they did to the Bills week 1. I know Josh had a good second half, but it was exploiting the short intermediate routes.
Yep.
And Terry's been eating his bread on the deep routes. I'm going to go Jerome Ford as well.
All right, here's what I'm going to say. Obviously Shakir, but for me, I'm going to go McLaurin as my 2 because Washington's secondary is terrible. They're going to probably be playing from behind. I think they're going to put up a lot of points. We've seen what Daniels can do, and I'm excited about McLaurin. They're going to be playing from behind. I understand the safety coverage and all that, but we're talking 10 plus targets here for not so scary Terry. So I'm going to go with your boy, Buck. I'm surprised.
You never stop shocking me, even years later. You just always got to throw a wrinkle in the fold, and I'm not one that does any good job of ironing.
Yeah,
okay? My clothes are wrinkled and.
Do you guys agree on anything? Just out of curiosity.
No.
The
Browns stink, dude. The Browns are terrible. You got to give Jameis the ball. Give Jameis the rock.
Oh, come on, man. Jameis will lead that team to victory after victory. We all know it. It'll be exciting. Like, all right, let's have a little Jameis segue here before our next question.
All right, let's do it. Let's go.
Jameis is the most entertaining human on earth. Yes. I'm not talking football players. I'm not talking quarterbacks. Jameis Winston is, yes, questionable with some of his younger actions. But since he has matured into a man that takes beatings in his backyard every single summer with all of these different pads and these different scramble drills, Jameis Winston has matured into a wonderful young man. And I want Jameis Winston to start in the NFL again because you're going to get a lot of good, you're going to get a lot of weirdness, and you're going to get a lot of bad play. And I want the fireworks of Jameis Winston, and I want to eat W's again.
No, I still, hey, by the way, I still have a Jameis Winston Buccaneers jersey that I am open to giving away, here on the live stream for a lucky person.
That's awesome. Do it.
But
somebody sign up.
I don't want to see Jameis Winston under center there in Cleveland. Like we know what he is. Come on. I mean, I got to say it was the most poetic thing in the world that the last snap Jameis Winston played in a New Orleans Saints jersey. He goes against the wishes of his coach and hands Jamal Williams the football on the 1 yard line so he can score a garbage time touchdown when the defense was expecting Jameis to take a knee and run out the clock. Arthur Smith throws a fit. He gets fired from Atlanta. Just chaos in the NFC South. Go Bucks.
Jameis Winston is Outback Steakhouse. There are no rules. It's just right.
I can't say it any better, Bucks. Speaking of jerseys, we all know a guy that has a Jake Camarda Buccaneers jersey. And that's not looking so good at Tampa Bay right now. Anyway,
that's a rough look.
Moving on.
Getting your punter benched is never a good look, dude.
Pittman, Judy, or the guy I can't pronounce his name. Tate, who you got?
Dude, all you have to think about is Mario Kart when you see his name, Yoshi Voss. Yoshi
Voss. Okay, there we go. I'll never forget.
That's a terrible Yoshi imitation. Anyway, I'm still going to go with Pittman. I really can't build a compelling case as to why, because they're playing the Steelers defense, which is just absolutely disgusting this year. I think they're going to heat up Anthony Richardson. I think Richardson's going to make a handful of mistakes, whether it's sack fumbles or just throwing the ball to a different area code of an intended receiver who is doing when your receiver is like looking up into the sky, like he's like trying to track a nearby plane in the air, the pass is so inaccurate. That is a bad sign. But that being said, I got to think that Pittman's going to get a little bit more involved. I don't expect that they're going to have enough time to be able to push the ball down the field for these vertical shots, which I think leads to a path where Pittman could see a little bit more work in the short to intermediate range of the football field. So go ahead and give me Pittman.
Buck, before you answer, let me sell you on this. Let me go first on this, Buck.
Okay. Wow. Right. You're jumping in. I love it.
So here we go. Let me tell you what I'm most excited about in week 4. I am most excited for the Red Rocket revenge game. That is what I am most excited about. And if I've learned anything through 3 weeks of the NFL season, I have learned that the Bengals are not good. So what does that tell me? The Red Rocket's going to be chucking the ball all around the yard today. And you know who's going to get a lot of fantasy points? Your boy, Yoshi Voss. So that's what I'm going with.
Oh, wow.
I agree with Levy. 100%. Yoshi Voss is my guy this week. 100%.
Did you ever think heading into week 4 of the 2024 NFL season that the Cincinnati Bengals would be worried about a Andy Dalton revenge game when they played the 1-win Carolina Panthers, who, by the way, have more wins than Cincinnati? I never saw that playing out. I gotta love the NFL.
Very surprising, but also it kind of shows Joe Mixon's value in that offense. They're really missing something this year.
Yep. And to that point, one of my player prop guys that I absolutely love today is Deontay Johnson. Over 5.5 catches, over 63.5 yards. He's going to get peppered.
He's probable, right?
Yes.
Right now, he's still on the sheet.
To play. He's expected
to play. He had 14 targets last week, boys. Come on now.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, and we don't have Adam Thielen, who popped his hamstring, I think. So, I mean, I don't see the targets being filtered anywhere else. Levy like Xavier Legette. I really like him. And I'm actually excited with a veteran quarterback that showed like he has a pulse. I'm excited about seeing Xavier Legette's role expand. But I do think that Deontay Johnson is going to be a target funnel in week 4.
Yep. Bucky, any
Red Rocket.
Cooking with Bucky anytime soon?
I mean, I can if there's a draw for it, and you guys want me to post them, and we still have a YouTube channel. Like I can definitely get back in the chopping room starting this week. I'll be in the other house, which is got a nicer kitchen set up, so I don't look like a bum that I used to be. So I'd prefer to be in that pleasant setting where the lighting is also ideal. So let me work on that this week. Fredley, if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to cook, I'm always open to exploration. I cooked chili yesterday. First chili cook of the year. Temps have been down in the 60s here in Atlanta. I was like, damn, I got to just beef up because we're getting into that hibernation phase, and I need a hell of a lot of chili and cornbread. And that's the route this entire week. I will eat nothing but chili for the entirety of the week. I put 3 pounds of beef in that chili. That chili is ready to rock. So yes, I could do cooking with Bucky, but I want some ideas from the good people out there.
I would love to see a follow-up segment here on the Fantasy Focus YouTube channel, or Ryan Mark Levy, or whatever it's named nowadays. We have to add that to the graphic too.
Yes.
But how about saunaing with Levy, like where he goes through his sauna process
and his prop picks for the week.
Yes, in the sauna. Prop picks from the sauna.
They're steamy hot picks from the sauna.
Oh man,
come on, man! Let's get a sauna segment. That's what the people really need. There's a market for it as well. So cooking with Bucky, sauning with Levy. We'll work on the names.
We are so stupid. I love it.
Too funny. All right, Charlie Hicks. I remember Charlie from a long time ago. It's good to see your name again, man. Hope you've been well. Should I trade McLaurin, Xavier Worthy, and Pittman Jr. or Waddle? This is an or question. I thought this was a big trade question, but which guy do you look to trade of these four? Tater.
Probably Michael Pittman. Just we haven't seen enough from Anthony Richardson yet. I could see a path where Xavier Worthy, his role expands. Like it's great debut, 2 catches, 17 yards in each of the last 2 weeks. It's going to take a little bit of time for those deep connections and those deep shots to start connecting with Patrick Mahomes, but I think it's on the horizon. So I don't want to trade away Xavier. I don't want to trade low on Xavier Worthy. Jalen Waddle, hopefully we get Tua Tagovailoa back, but what's his market right now? So you're selling low on guys in those 2 cases where I think better days are ahead. I just don't see it right now for Anthony Richardson, which is why Michael Pittman is probably the guy that you can get the most for, or him or McLaurin. But I want to see more of McLaurin and Jaden Daniels. So give me Michael Pittman.
Bucky?
I'm struggling here. I mean, Tate makes good points, but I'm trying to kind of guesstimate the value here, like what the value prop looks like and where there's an advantageous slot for you. Like, you don't want to drop Waddle, right? You don't want to trade him, but I don't know, Tate. There's part of me that kind of thinks he's limited for the rest of the year because of the situation.
Well, just depends on when Tua Tagovailoa comes back, if he comes back. And that's what Bucky, you're right. We don't have an answer to that. So could someone be buying into the same line of thinking with Jalen Waddle? Like, hey, he's going to be a top 24 option when Tua comes back. We just don't know if Tua's coming back or when he's coming back. So there's no timetable. So selling on that thought process, Buck, I'm with you. They're all options, but they're all outside of McLaurin. They all feel like buy low options. And I don't want to sell low if I don't have to, unless you really have a specific position, Charlie, where you have to address right now. Give me some, if you can give us a better idea of what your roster looks like, that may help us with maybe some trade targets or why you're wanting to potentially offload some of these guys. Just give us a little bit more information.
Chuck, are there any Dolphins fans that are in your league? Because that's who you target.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to have blinders on, and I'm talking now real schematically, like one Mr. Q would. That's how you got to roll. You got to act like Mr. Q. And those who know. You got to really angle and dangle the carrots to the weak and the feeble.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, look, if you really need a running back and you got to make a trade right now or something like that, the guy that has the most value is McLaurin, right? Like, but to Tate's point, I want to see him continue on with Daniels. So I don't really want to trade McLaurin right now. But you're selling low on all these other guys. Waddle, I'm kind of excited if Huntley continues. Like, at least he can throw him the ball We'll see this week what happens. But I'd probably trade Pittman, I guess, right now.
What you could do is pair names like Waddle and Pittman together to maybe get an upgrade, right? Because somebody's probably willing to take a shot or a chance on acquiring two names that are struggling right now than just buying one of these two players low. You're not going to get much. Maybe combining them together could get you a little bit more on your return.
I like it. Fredley says you should cook something spicy with nachos and ground beef. Buck, sounds like we need some Bucky nachos.
Some Buckchos. We're in.
Buckchos. Love that.
I've never made nachos at home, so this will, aside from like,
you've never made home chos?
I've made like Doritos with just cheese and jalapenos on them in the microwave for like
basically nachos.
30 seconds. Yeah, but I'm not doing that for cooking with Bucky. Hey, get your Doritos, spread them equally on a plate, load it with cheese, a few jalapenos, and press go. That's actually a funny bit. Okay.
Love that. Chuck,
we can figure it out.
Good to have you back. Let's go Bucks. Yes.
Let's go Chuck.
We need to see Baker baking this week. He did not bake last week.
Listen, I just checked the oven. It's at a cool 450, my friend. We're getting ready to bake.
Tate, does he bounce back this week?
It sucks that we're not going to have Luka Decky again. Like we're for a third straight game, we're going to be without our starting right tackle. And against Philadelphia's front, it gives them a path for being able to heat up Baker. I was really surprised, guys, with how little separation Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan were able to generate against the Denver secondary. So, is the Denver secondary really good, or is the Bucs trio not as good as we think? So, which
I think it's their strength.
I'm thinking that Denver's secondary is just better than people think. They did a pretty good job against Seattle in week number 1. Pittsburgh, outside of a couple George Pickens plays, one of which didn't even count, they did a good job against them. They did a good job against the Bucs. I'm starting to think that this Denver secondary is just pretty damn good outside of Patrick Surtain, who's already a stud. So all that being said, I do think that the Bucs bounce back a little bit against this defense that actually did a pretty damn good job against a red-hot Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a battle, boys, but I welcome it. Go Bucs.
Yes, love it, Tate. So Peter on Facebook wants to know, who should he start, Stafford, Love, or Rodgers? Who you got, Tate?
Going Jordan Love.
I'm going Jordan Love as well.
Let's ride. I understand Brian Flores has actually really done a damn good job. Think about it, Levy. Brian Flores flummoxed the San Francisco 49ers and the freaking Houston Texans. We expected them to do that to the Giants in week 1, but those are two of the best wins of any team in the league so far. And they look pretty damn impressive because of Brian Flores. Dials up a lot of defenses, plays, fire zone coverages behind it. Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, Pat Jones, even they have a lot of movable pieces that can get after the quarterback, just pin their ears back and make life miserable. But we're talking about a Matt LaFleur Green Bay offense that managed to make Malik Willis look like a competent NFL quarterback. Now you get Jordan Love back. Oh, I'm feeling the love. Jaden Reed, get back in the top 20, baby. Let's go, Green Bay. Go, Pack, go. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jordan Love as well. I don't love the matchup for Rodgers, and I'm not a Stafford guy anymore. So there you go. I'll keep it easy.
I got two questions, though, folks. 2 questions. Number 1 for Tate. I pride myself as a man with a very immense vocabulary. What the hell does flummoxed mean?
I can't define it. It just really sounds like confusing people, though.
Yeah, I have no idea, Buck. I've never heard this word in my life.
It startled me. It was jarring, and I want to just speak for the people. I didn't know where to go with it. And then number 2, why the hell did the Dolphins trade Van Ginkel? That guy's a stud. He is a stud.
Great question. Got a sack every week.
He was the anchor of their entire defense last year, including Phillips. The whole thing didn't make any sense, what they were doing.
Well, his versatility, clearly. You can play him off ball. You can line him up over different defensive alignment.
To lose those 2 linemen, because Van Ginkel, in the end, played outside, but he was really
right. I get that, yeah. Yeah,
but
I'm
he's
not
also
lining him up
excellent
at
on
4
tight
eye
end.
and expecting him to beat a double team at defensive tackle. No, I mean, I understand that his game has limitations in that regard. But yes, he's movable around both sides. I don't think that he's just his versatility and his effectiveness as a pass rusher. I agree with you.
He's a Swiss Army knife, and he covers the tight end better than most outside linebackers. Like, it doesn't make sense. He shut down Dalton Kincaid 2 games last year. Just shut him down. And I watched it, and I watched the film, and I'm like, who on that defense stands out? The 2 guys they traded. Like, what were they thinking?
Well,
You're in the AFC East. You have to face Josh Allen. You got to face Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are you doing?
losing Christian Wilkins and Van Ginkel, and I get that they lost Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator, and you certainly have different personnel probably that they're trying to identify. But I mean, why would you not prioritize those 2 guys? Like, I mean, Jordan Brooks is a nice player from Seattle. We don't have to go Levy too deep with the Dolphins, defensive decisions talk. But
let me get you guys back on track.
All right.
I got a question from Twitter. Going with the Bucks theme here. This is interesting. Bucky Irving or Rachaad White?
Bucky Irving. I mean, it's just been the better option, guys. I mean,
Irving's looked better, but he's banged up. I'm going to go with Rachaad White.
Yeah, I'm going Rachaad White this week. I think the guy's fighting for his job. And as Bucky said, Bucky is injured. He's a little banged up. I think he's got a groin.
Can we talk about the fact that we have a Bucky in the league now?
I know.
It's beautiful. It's about time we got our shine.
We've had a couple Tates back, throughout the NFL history. I don't know how many Levys we have. Levy, how many
State, you had Tate Rodemaker.
Yes, Tate Rodemaker.
Yeah.
DeAndre Levy for the Lions back in the day.
Oh, yeah. So, and we do have a Bucky down in the NFL. A Bucky on the Bucks. It couldn't be more poetic, Matthew. I've never called you Matthew. I'm going to call you Matthew because I'm just saying Bucks too much.
That's reserved for the old lady.
All right. So I'm gonna go. This excites me, Fredley, because I talked about player prop research. I've been doing that for my fantasy research this year. I'll say to make my own lineup decisions in season-long leagues. So Deontay, I had him over 5.5 catches and over 63.5 yards. So I like 80. 80 is high, but I'm assuming this is like some sort of DraftKings thing. Maybe you got a boost here if he scores a touchdown and gets 80. You mentioned Thielen is out. I love it. The Red Rocket revenge game, Tater. I loved 80 yards and a touchdown today for Deontay. How about you boys?
I'll jump in first and say, do we expect the Cincinnati Bengals, who I think are fighting for whatever semblance of a chance they have to make the NFL postseason, right? I mean, I get it. It's 0-3. It's only through 3 games. Could Cincinnati get hot? Yes. But can they afford to lose this game against the Carolina Panthers? I think that Joe Burrow they're going to put it in Joe Burrow's arm and just allow him to, basically die on their sword if that's going to be the case. So could this be a game script too, Levy, where, the Carolina Panthers are forced to have to throw to try to keep up with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati offense? Yes. And if that's the case, Deontay Johnson, he's going to give you a nice floor of volume in the passing game, but I think he's a weapon. He proved last week that he can be a guy that wins on all 3 levels of the football field. And if you've got that in a game script that could favor Deontay Johnson in a secondary that's certainly had some damn issues in Lou Anarumo's first 3 games of the 2024 season, yeah, man, I think 80 yards is certainly very achievable, if not 100, and a score. Because do we expect Chuba Hubbard to have a dominant performance? I think he's going to have the volume, but how much effectiveness is he going to have on the ground? I think it's going to rest on the arm of the guy that you're calling the Red Rocket in a revenge game. So, yeah, Deontay, 80 and a touchdown. I kind of like that player prop for this week.
I like 50 and a touchdown. I don't like 80. 80's high.
Is it the pass rush that concerns you, or is it like the cornerback play and you just don't like some of the specific matchups?
No, I just don't like the Red Rocket the way that Levy does.
I mean, I'm not saying I didn't say they're going to win the game, but I think he's going to have a good game. I mean, he looked good last week.
He did.
I mean,
he did.
He looked spicy. He was a spicy meatball, but we've seen that before. You know what's crazy? Andy Dalton has the 25th most passing yards in the history of the NFL. How crazy is that?
Crazy.
Damn, he really does?
Yes, he really does. Like, the Red Rocket has prevailed and made so much damn money. And yet here he is again. We can never he's herpes for football. You just can't get rid of it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You can try all the meds, buddy. Good luck.
Oh,
Hey,
I've got no rebuttal to that. That's fantastic. We're leaving it.
I have more on it. I think we got a flare up last week. We're down for a little lull this week.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Bad.
That's good, dude. That's really good.
Oh my God.
I might have to chop this video up.
I'm crying. I'm literally got tears in my eyes. Matt Buck's making me cry on live stream because of
I'm sorry, Mom.
Andy Dalton SCP correlation.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Man. All right, Tate, I got another one for you. I like Pickens a lot today. His over-under is only like 56.5 yards. But my question is, does Fields keep this job all year? He's got a good defense there in Pittsburgh, as you mentioned earlier. Does he keep the job all year? He's doing enough. Like, he's got a 73% completion percentage. Is he playing with a chip on his shoulder?
Of course he is.
But
yeah, he's playing. I mean, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. Of course, dude. Like, you were discarded by the team that invested first round draft capital in you, and the media pundits all fluffing up Caleb Williams that he's a Mahomes type of prospect, and you get discarded to a team and you're set to play behind Russell Wilson. Like, this kid has so much talent, and I get that the processing is probably never going to be elite for Justin Fields. Playing on time is never going to be something that he does at a high level, but he's good enough. He's definitely good enough. And you put this kid in a situation in an Arthur Smith scheme that he has no problem dialing up QB designed runs. I mean, back in like 2021 with Marcus Mariota averaged like 4.5 QB designed runs per game. Justin Fields has an elite fantasy ceiling, and I think can succeed in this heavy play action type of offensive schematics. You're asking me, though, is there a path where he could potentially lose the starting job with Russell Wilson sitting there waiting in the wings? We're yet to see a game script where it's really on Justin Fields' shoulders to have to generate production and points. If this defense ever starts allowing more than 8 points per game, do they ever fall behind by multiple scores and they need Justin Fields to air it out in order to pull out a win coming from behind? How is he going to respond when that happens? That's the only thing that he hasn't answered yet in Pittsburgh. So I'm not going to say definitively yes that he's the guy the rest of the year. But if I'm a betting guy, I do think he's the odds-on favorite. Like, I mean, he's 3-0, and he's playing clean football. One turnover on a tipped pass through 3 games. Justin Fields is playing very solid football, even though the box score doesn't reflect it. He's the starter indefinitely. He's going to have to play poorly in order to lose the job.
Agree with every point you made there, Derek. I also feel just deep down, yeah, he went to a better situation and we're seeing better results. And at the end of the day, he's younger. He's got the juice, right? The kid has the juice. He doesn't have the full juice, but did Russell prove anything over the last 2 years? No. Like, we're seeing the last bit of his career, and he got beat out by a younger, better player who is probably relieved leaving Chicago, leaving all that constant doubting, leaving the blame of we'll never have a quarterback, so automatically we assume that you won't get it together. He's in a better situation now, even though he doesn't have, the targets they have in Chicago now. But still, he's a talented young player, and that's huge. And Tomlin loves running the football. He loves power football. Listen, Fields is going to shake it up in terms of how the defenses have to approach defending them, which opens them up to run the football. So that's where I reside. I think he's got the job for the rest of the year.
I just love that Justin Fields has gone to an organization where clearly they have a much better idea of what to do with
who
him.
They are.
Exactly. Their identity. They want to run the football. And sure, maybe like the fantasy numbers guys like aren't super exciting yet for Justin Fields, but he had a touchdown pass called back against Denver to George Pickens. He also has had a pair of like 30 and 40-yard receptions down the field called back due to penalties. Like, the signs are there that Fields is going to start putting up better numbers fantasy-wise, and he's playing good football, and he's not turning the ball over. He understands that he has a great defense. I'm so happy for him, and I'm happy for Malik Willis too, because in Tennessee, he looked awful, guys. He averaged getting sacked every four passing attempts. Every four passing attempts that he had, he's getting sacked every four passing attempts. That's nuts. And he had 0 touchdown passes, the 3 interceptions in Tennessee, where you could tell they gave up on him really fast. And he's 2-0 as a starter with the Green Bay Packers. I'm just so happy for these quarterbacks that have been cast away and written off by their organizations, going to better places and having success.
Yep. Love that, Tate. All right.
That was a rant. Sorry for the rant.
You're good. Jacqueline, she has to sit one of these: Gibbs, Connor, Henry, Evans, and Metcalf. Woo! Good options. Tate, who are you going to sit? We don't know her format. If this is PPR.
It doesn't matter, Jacqueline Grand George. I'm sitting Derrick Henry.
Wow.
The Bills offense is cooking right now, guys. And if that game script comes around and Henry doesn't plow his way into the end zone, which he could.
Standard format.
Standard format. Oh, great. It even makes it even worse to sit Henry. But I believe this game script is not going to be favorable for Derrick Henry in this one. I think Lamar Jackson's going to have to go superhuman, put on that old Superman cape, see a busy day for Zay Flowers and even, Isaiah Likely working underneath. So, and I think Lamar has a chance to run for over 100 yards. So I'm just sitting Derrick Henry in this one.
It's hard to say Sid Henry because I do see him scoring today, which in a standard format will look good. The Bills have limited all rushers this year. Kenny Babbage, new defensive coordinator, is doing a hell of a job containing the 2 best options on any team. You watched it with the Dolphins game where they shut down A-Chain and they shut down Tyreek Hill. And they basically just put a lid on those 2 players and said, Jalen Waddle beat us. Tua beat us. So what I expect to happen in this game, it's going to be, okay, we're going to shut down Henry. We're going to shut down Lamar. Try to beat us. You're going to have to work the outsides. And guess where the Bills' strength lies? On defense. Your cornerbacks. So going to be a rough go, in my opinion, for the Ravens, but I think it'll be a tougher game for Josh. Just being on the road, with the weather, the way it's been the last few days. I haven't checked the weather report, which, by the way, we got to get back into doing weather reports here with the breaking news and all the different the currents. We need to make sure that we're allowed to move through the water swiftly. So we'll bring that back, but I don't know what it looks like. I just know it's been real seedy through the Southeast the last week. And if it's a sloppy game, I don't expect Josh has to have a come down to earth moment. If he doesn't, I'm going to start to lose my mind and become a maniacal bastard. Nobody wants that. Nobody needs that. The old lady doesn't need it. My dad doesn't need it. The good people of Atlanta, Georgia don't need it. So I'm just saying, if I'm a maniacal bastard, what's left for me? Nothing but a swift end. Okay. I need Josh to just look a little bit more like old Josh, just to prove that I'm not going crazy and that, everything is right in the world. Because Boys, I went to church this morning. You know why? Because I got salvation. And I got to tell you, it was beautiful. And the thing about that is, I said, bring me back down to earth because I'm riding too high.
Unreal.
Levy, the Lord compelled Bucky to identify that Andy Dalton is the football version of herpes this morning. I can't get
it. That was the good word. That was the sermon, actually.
So wait, Buck, to finish that off, who are you officially sitting here?
Yeah. Who are you sitting?
I'm going to sit Henry there. I like Connor. I like Connor. I look for Gibbs' role to expand this week. Evans and Metcalf are easy starts for me. Connor just looks good. And I love the way that they're feeding him the rock. So it's hard for me to get away from Connor. And I just have faith in the Buffalo Bills defense.
Fine, I'll agree with you guys.
Connor had 9 carries for 17 yards last week, but against Detroit, Detroit's front is very stingy. I agree with you. And the encouraging thing about Connor was even in a game where he really struggled, Levy, we didn't see much of anything from Trey Benson. They didn't expand his role. Connor still saw a season high in snaps. So I think this job is Connor's to lose unless this efficiency struggles continue.
All right, let's move on. I got a few more in the hopper here. Luke wants to know, do I start Hurts or Caleb? He also has Saquon, but his opponent has Goddard. I mean, that doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go with Hurts all day here. The Bucs secondary is not great, guys. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's Hurts.
Jalen Hurts actually has not played like great against the Bucs.
Correct.
And he's without his top 2 options.
You cannot start Caleb right now.
I saw some positive things from Caleb, even though he still played like shit last week. He still made a lot of mistakes, but we saw some growth. He gets Keenan Allen back. Rome Odunze, who I didn't even expect to play last week, had his first 100-yard game and a score. Do I think DJ Moore could have a little bit more success? Yes. I'll go Hurts, but I don't love it.
DJ Moore is one of my props today, over 60.5. I like DJ Moore a lot.
I like that.
Even with Keenan Allen coming back and Odunze emerging last week with Keenan Allen sitting or being injured.
I'm with you with Moore.
Yeah, I like Moore, but I'm still going Hurts this week.
My second round flummox of Keenan Allen is going to pay off finally here in week 4.
There we go. All right, I got one.
I flummoxed myself.
Damn it! Now, I'm shit. I'm gonna have to find.
I don't even know how to Google that word, Tate. Is this a word that Tate just made up?
I mean, I'm assuming it's FLUMMUX, flummox.
Fredley, I see you're still with us. Can you go ahead and find out how the exact spelling of flummox? Because I don't even know when I use the word.
And you asked the guy whose native language is Spanish, Derek, to do our English dictionary digging. I'm kidding, Fredley. You are a beautifully bilingual man. So
I got a tough one for you guys. This is from Corey Maida. This is a text and request. I believe he's watching on YouTube. Start 5 out of these 7 in a PPR league. 5 of 7. So pay attention because I can't put it on the screen.
Okay.
James Cook, Kamara, Kyron Williams, Diggs, Raji Rice, Tyreek Hill, Zay Flowers. That is seven great players.
Can we get that on the ticker? Like, can I get some private chat or so? Like,
I'm sitting Tyreek.
Players.
I'm sitting Tyreek.
You have to start the guys too.
Oh no, I know, but
just copy and paste the text to me or something.
I am.
Go through the running backs again one more time. Sorry, Levy.
James Cook, Kamara, Kyron Williams.
I'm starting all 3 of them. I'll sit Zay Flowers as the other guy. I'm sitting Tyreek and Zay, even though I expect a good day from Zay, but you have a lot of great options made us. So that Bills secondary, though, Buck, you could speak to it. Been pretty damn good through the first 3 weeks. So I'll sit Zay.
Safety plays a little dicey, but outside, we've just been the best cornerback threesome in the league. And Taron Johnson is coming back this week. But Jamarcus Ingram has stepped up huge. So is Cam Lewis, who those two guys have been with the Bills for 3 and 4 years, respectively, either on the practice squad. They've been in the system, they've been in the Sean McDermott system. So it's a well-oiled machine on the outside. However, it's really hard to sit Diggs, even though I'm going to sit Diggs.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Wow. That's the easiest thing I've ever done. Put that guy on the bench.
So you're sitting Diggs?
Oh yeah. Big time.
No Tank Dell today though.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care.
I'm with Tate on this. I'm going to sit Tyreek and Flowers.
This is purely a spite move. And if you know me, you know that I'm full of spite and full of all sorts of different steel and resolve. And my resolve tells me, Stephon Diggs, not doing it.
All right. But let's move on.
Understood. The second option would be Zay Flowers. Yes.
All right. Let's move on here. I got a couple more on. Well, Fredley wants to know. Let's go quick on this one. Rachaad White going over total yards of 50. Tate.
50 total yards, yes. 50 rushing, not against Philly.
Okay.
Maybe a TD. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I worry about Gadecki being out and us being able to generate enough push against the interior of that defensive line, even in those short yardage situations. Like Jalen Carter is, freaky. So I'm going to say no for Rachaad White.
Okay. Bucks, any thoughts there?
I like it, actually. I like over 50 if that's a prop.
Total yards over 50, fine. Maybe he catches 2 balls, but I don't love this, Fredley. It's not like a lock. There's so many other good plays today, but anyway, he flummox spelled just how you had it. Peter has another one on Facebook. Alexander Mattison or Chase Brown, Tate.
Oh God. Alexander Mattison on a touchdown streak. Like, I'm going to go Chase Brown. I like the explosives that we got from him last week. And if you get kick return yards in your league, cool. Because Chase Brown's doing a little bit of that too. But he's getting enough work in a matchup against the Carolina Panthers defense that, through the first 2 weeks, they couldn't stop a nosebleed on the ground. They're without Derek Brown, their best interior defensive lineman. So give me Chase Brown in this matchup.
Bucky.
I'm gonna go with Madison. I just feel more confident in what I've seen at the goal line from him. He's got the goal line touches.
If this was like 3 years ago and Dalvin Cook was injured, I would go Alexander Mattison. But in today's landscape, I will go Chase Brown. I like the upside more. I think he looks pretty good. And, the Red Rocket revenge game, I'm expecting a lot of fireworks in this game, boys. So give me Chase Brown. Next question. Yasame like.
No, that's Yasi me like.
Yes, there we go. That makes more sense, Buck. I just spelled it out, phonetically tried to pronounce that one. Drop one, Kendre Miller, Trey Tucker, Josh Downs, or Ty Chandler, Tate.
Josh Downs. I'm just going to jump in. I'm dropping Josh Downs out of that group. Yeah.
Kendre Miller, what has he done? Like, if you got, he hasn't played. He's been on IR. He can't get healthy.
Yeah, probably a keeper thing. He's a 3rd round running back, and we see them come to life year 2, year 3 of their career. I'm just saying, we don't know the keeper situation. Sure. Josh Downs, for me, is a throwaway.
Who has the
no offense to Josh Downs and his lovely family, but Trey Tucker, I want to keep him on my roster.
He intrigues me. In particular with no Devontae Adams today. Kind of a sneak. You talk about DFS prop plays. Trey Tucker's an interesting one to me. But I'll ask this simple question. Who has the least amount of fantasy points scored through the first 3 weeks of these 4 options?
Kendre Miller.
Because he hasn't played. So, Kamara's looked pretty damn good, to be honest with you. And Dennis Allen, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, went out of his way to say, he needs to figure out how to stay healthy. Like, there was no ringing endorsement of Kendre Miller this offseason. We saw nothing from him this offseason because he's been injured the entire damn time. So, yeah, as much as I think Miller's game intrigued me coming out of TCU. Just haven't seen enough of him. He hasn't been healthy. I'm dropping him. I know, and Kamara's banged up. Yasima Likey, or sorry, I screwed it up too. But like Kamara's banged up. I get it. But they do have Jamal Williams still on the roster for some reason.
But Josh Downs has 3 receptions, like 22 yards. I'm done. No.
Look. If this is a deep league, if it's a keeper league, it's a dynasty league. Obviously, I'm not dropping Kendre Miller, but I mean, I see your point. If you want to keep him, I don't think that the upside is very high with Josh Downs. So for that reason, I'm okay with agreeing with Buck here. But it just depends on what your roster looks like, man.
You have an underneath slot option for a quarterback that refuses to throw the ball underneath. That's not a good marriage for Josh Downs playing with Anthony Richardson. I get why that's not very exciting. I don't hate Kendre Miller, guys, but I just worry about what type of role is he going to have? Like, I get last year he had a nice finish to last season, but his efficiency was still rough. And Kamara's clearly the guy. And I mean, yeah, he's banged up, but he's playing this week, so he's not that banged up. So, and you still got Taysom Hill.
Fair enough.
Yassim Alai, can you tell us whether or not this is more of a keeper type of situation, like long-term hold on a player?
By the way, guys, we're getting off here.
I'm just curious, because if it's the case, then I'm keeping Kendre Miller. So
if you got any other questions, though, too, anybody that's still with us, hit us with now. We're about 3 minutes from signing off. We still got to set our own fantasy football lineups.
Yes.
Still got to do that because we still play fantasy football because we're focused on fantasy football over here at Fantasy Focused. That's mouthful, but hit us with the questions. Let's go.
Oh, it's just RB2. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that changes it.
Running back 2 is Jerome Ford, and Ford's could lose some of his work with Nick Chubb if he's able to get healthy and come back. Do you have anybody else on your waiver wire that you could pick up over Kendre Miller? Because there's other guys that I like over Kendre Miller. Like,
who are they, Tate?
Roschon Johnson. Like, easy. Give me Roschon Johnson. The kid Wilson from the Green Bay Packers. I think that he's looked really explosive.
Picked him up this morning.
What's that?
I picked him up this morning.
He's a nice complimentary option who's showed plenty of burst. You have Chase Brown as well. I just see other.
He has Roschon Johnson.
even Tyrone Tracy is somebody who's getting on the field. Who I think
so he's just got to drop one of those guys, and for me, it's Josh Downs.
Well, you have Roschon
or Kendre Miller.
Okay,
Kendre's fine too. Either one.
Yeah, I'm dropping Downs. There we go. All right, we are caught up on questions, boys. Any closing thoughts for this week, Tate? Anything you love? Like, if any gamblers out there? Any games that you would be on if you were a gambler?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in the Arizona Cardinals. I think James Conner is going to have himself a very big day. That Washington secondary is still very, 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 very suspect. Everybody's probably going to be on Marvin Harrison Jr., and rightfully so. Trey McBride's out, though. Elijah Higgins is a guy that I would take a look at his DFS, like his yardage prop and maybe his receptions prop, because I think he's somebody that could have an effective day, when working the short to intermediate range of the field against, Bobby Wagner, who, all due respect to Bobby Wagner, bit of a liability in pass coverage at this point. So, that maybe Kyler Murray having himself a really nice day is a DFS play that I like for this week.
All right. I don't know what this means. Can McLaurin stay on top in constructors? What is constructors?
I'm starting to worry if that's an F1 question and Fredley's just dual chatting.
We got one more question here. Start 2 in PPR. Godwin, Worthy, McLaurin, and Pittman. Tater, for me, it's Godwin and McLaurin. Who you got?
I really want to start Worthy, but
I know.
I'm going to go Godwin and McLaurin. I'm going to go Godwin and Worthy.
Worthy.
Yeah, there you go, Buck. There you go.
Yeah, no, not for me, dog.
I think the storm is coming for Xavier Worthy. I think it's just a matter of time. They're designing touches. He's second in receiver rushing attempts, tied with Jaden Reed. So they're clearly trying to get him to the football. He's got 2 screen pass receptions this year. That's near the line of scrimmage. They're trying to get him the football. It's just a matter of time until it starts paying off.
All right, fair enough.
All right, it is an F1 question there from Fredley, and I want to say this. Usually the team that's on top stays on top in that sport.
Yeah, I don't know anything about F1. I know people are really into it, but no. I mean, look, whatever, Fredley. I don't know.
Fredley, you lost me, man. I don't know anything.
I do like F1. I like anything competitive. Like
I prefer NASCAR, man. Give me some turn real
I like
hard.
it all. I like cars going fast. That's what I like.
I want to go fast. All right. Well, good luck to you guys this week. That'll do it. We did an hour. We committed an hour.
We made it.
It was fun, boys. I wish you the best of luck this week. Go Bucks. Go Bills. Let's go. Have a day. 7 hours of commercial-free football begins now.
Go Bills.
Until next time, everybody. Later, says the Tater.